Are you making one of these three big mistakes? If you are like many of my very best clients, chances are you probably are. Now, here's the thing. I am talking about some of the best parent advocates I know. I am talking about like the cream of the crop, the best parent advocates, the ones that love their autistic child, the ones that listen to autistic adults, that advocate for their kid. Those parent advocates are making these three mistakes. And I want to be clear, making these mistakes does not make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad parent. Spoiler alert, it makes you a human. But these three mistakes does make your life harder as a parent advocate. And I am all about making parenting your autistic child easier. So I'm going to be sharing these three big mistakes that even the best parent advocates make with you today. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get started. I even have some fancy schmancy slides today. So I'm so excited if I can make the tech magic work. We are going to be good to go. It's going to be so great. So today, friends, let me see. Look at that. Okay. I'm going to be sharing the three mistakes that even the best, and I'm talking the best parent advocates make. And I'm curious if you, my friends, are making one of these three big mistakes. So, if we haven't met before, hey friend, I'm Kaylene. I am a mom of 6 neurodivergent kids. I'm an autistic advocate and I'm a parent coach. And I have helped hundreds of parents just like you parent their autistic child with ease through my communities, my programs, my Embracing Autism Accelerator program. If you count my blog, my page here, it is up in the hundreds of thousands of parent advocates that I help parent their autistic child with more ease. But today, what I want to talk to you about is specifically these three big mistakes, okay? Number one is skipping accommodations. And this is really about skipping over the accommodations that your child needs and skipping straight to boundaries in an attempt to minimize behavior struggles that your child is dealing with, okay? And I want to say that I understand this in theory because when your child is struggling with behavior, and I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger here, maybe, there we go. Okay. In theory, I understand this. When your child is struggling with behavior, the parenting industry and therapists and professionals, they tell you that this is an issue of boundaries and that you really need to set consistent boundaries. And I'm not going to get into my issue with consistency. That is alive for another time. But the issue with boundaries in and of itself in this stage is that if you skip over accommodations, then you are missing a foundational piece. Because let me tell you, friends, all the boundaries in the world will not work. They will not do anything if your child doesn't feel safe and regulated in the first place. A child that isn't accommodated enough to feel safe and regulated doesn't have the capacity to follow boundaries. It will not happen, okay? So I'm not saying you can never set boundaries. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that if you try to skip the accommodation phase, if you try to skip accommodations and go straight for boundaries and straight for the consistent boundaries, and I'm going to set all of these nicely worded positive boundaries, you will not get the results that you are looking for because all the boundaries in the world are not going to work if your child isn't able or capable or having the capacity to meet those boundaries because they haven't gotten the accommodations that they need in the first place. Okay, so the first big mistake that I see parents making is skipping accommodations. The accommodations have to come first. Okay, Now, the second big mistake that I see people making is walking on eggshells, okay? And this is when we over accommodate to the point where everyone in the house walks on eggshells to avoid a meltdown or an outburst from your autistic child. And I want to be honest, this is sometimes necessary, just like we talked about in the last step. You have to accommodate your child to the point where they feel safe and regulated on a regular basis, okay? The problem is when we stay there. We are not meant to stay in that accommodation mode forever and ever, right? We are not meant to stay in that place forever. And so the big mistake that I see parents making is staying stuck in that walking on eggshells place where there's no balance, there's no boundaries, there is no sense of any choice for anyone in the household. And this is where we start to see even the other kids in the household giving up and giving in and saying, never mind, just let them choose. Never mind, it's fine, just it'll be that kid's way. And that is not how a healthy family runs. And so this mistake, walking on eggshells, is one that just breaks my heart because I've been there, where the entire family is just walking on eggshells to avoid outbursts or meltdowns from one person. And we're not supposed to stay there. I understand how necessary it is sometimes when you're in that accommodation stage and everything has to revolve around safety and regulation. But we're not meant to stay there. We don't have to stay there. This is the stage where we are ready to set some boundaries. And that still doesn't mean that we have to be like consistent boundaries like all of the, white guys with PhDs say. But we're ready to set some boundaries. We're ready to implement some balance in our families. This is the stage where we're ready for that to happen, okay? Now, the third big mistake that I see parents make is practicing hope advocacy, okay? Now, this is going into advocacy situations without a clear strategy and instead relying on hope that things will simply work themselves out or that the team knows what the best solution is and it'll all just be okay because we just hope that it will. And here's the deal, friends. This doesn't work. Like, spoiler alert, hope advocacy doesn't work. Maybe it works in some cases. And I would argue that if hope advocacy has worked in your case, chances are it was a lot less because of the hope advocacy and a lot more because of many, many layers of privilege. Again, that's an assumption, but it's probably a true assumption. But for the majority of people, hope advocacy is not going to get you very far in advocating for your child. Instead of hope advocacy and assuming everything will just work itself out or that the team will somehow know the best solution, you have to go in with a clear strategy in mind. And that begins with knowing what accommodations work for your unique child. It begins with knowing what you're actually fighting for. It means knowing your rights and your child's rights in the school system. And this goes beyond the school system. It means knowing your child's rights in the community. It means having a clear strategy, knowing your non-negotiables, knowing what you will negotiate. It means knowing which type of advocacy you are going to use. I teach my clients 2 different types of advocacy because there is 2 separate types, spoiler alert. And so going into advocacy situations with your clear strategy in mind, knowing your scripts, knowing your exit strategy when you get overwhelmed or when you need a break, knowing exactly what your plan is, that is an effective advocacy strategy, okay? We can't go into these situations and expect hope advocacy to work. Okay. That's not how it works. And so, just to recap, okay, really quickly, those 3 big mistakes that I see even the best parent advocates make is number 1, skipping accommodations and going straight into boundaries to deal with behavior issues or different struggles for their kid. Number 2 is walking on eggshells. This is staying in that place where everyone walks on eggshells to avoid meltdowns or outbursts or big behaviors. And then number 3 is practicing hope advocacy strategies, because hope advocacy isn't a strategy. It's not a plan, friends. We need a real strategy if you are going to effectively advocate for your kid and know that their needs are being met even when you're not around. Okay. And if you want to hear more about how you can avoid mistakes like these and how you can create a unique plan for parenting your unique child and parenting your autistic child with some ease, if you want to hear more about how to actually effectively advocate, or how to stop walking on eggshells, or how to accommodate your child without burning yourself out, then I want to invite you to Embracing Autism Live. Now, Embracing Autism Live is a 1-day virtual event that I'm hosting on April 20th. And this, let me just say, is going to be fire. It is one of the best things I have ever done. And my goal is to pack a 90-day program worth of value into a 1-day virtual event. And so this is going to break down into 4 workshops. And session 1 is the Embracing Autism Evolution. And so this is basically that one-size-fits-all strategies from old white guys with PhDs and the picture-perfect parenting coaches. It's over. It is time for the Embracing Autism Evolution. So in this workshop, we're going to dive deep into the Embracing Autism method and the paradigm shift that's coming for empowered parent advocates. So you get ready to have your mind blown wide open with aha moments in this session. Then in session 2, we're going to have a tell-all Q&A parent advocate panel. So you are going to hear the whole truth and nothing but the dang truth from our panel of empowered parent advocates. And these are real-life parents that are implementing the Embracing Autism method in their own unique way. So in this session, you're going to discover the real deal strategies that are working right now in parenting. And you're going to get to see how different families are tweaking the strategies and that you're learning at the event to fit their specific situations. And then in session 3, we're going to create your custom 90-day action plan. So whether you want to set some boundaries that actually stick, get ahead of the meltdowns so your child and you can actually feel relaxed, or you want to effectively advocate with the school so that your child's needs are finally being met appropriately, even when you aren't around, we're going to map out your custom 90-day action plan. We're going to use my custom lever technique, and this is an approach to 90-day planning you have never seen. And then in session 4, we are going to take a deep dive into embracing autism mindset and strategies that you are going to need as you move forward from the event so that you can continue to make massive progress. So we're also going to do an extended Q&A so that you have the opportunity to ask any and all questions about implementing the Embracing Autism method into your unique family situation. So I will be staying on to answer every single question. So if you want personalized answers from me live, this session is your go-to. And we also have some bonuses. I know that not everyone can show up live for 4 full workshops. Life is busy, so you get replays for 6 full days following the event of all of the workshops. Plus, you get invited to the bonus VIP day that's happening April 21st. And you get the Action Takers Guidebook. So you get a full workbook so that you can take notes, follow along, and you get to take that with you after the live event so that you can put everything into practice with your family. And The tickets to Embracing Autism Live are $29. So you get to join the entire one-day event for just $29, plus you get access to those replays for almost an entire week. So you can watch them in the evenings, watch them at 2x speed, watch them on your own time, and you can get started. You can get your tickets right now. The link is autisticmama.com/EA-live, and you can join us at Embracing Autism Live. It's happening April 20th. I would love, love, love to see you all there. It's going to be a fantastic time. I'm so freaking excited. And I cannot wait to see you all at Embracing Autism Live. And if you have any questions about Embracing Autism Live or the 3 mistakes that even the best parent advocates make, be sure to drop them in the comments. And as always, friends, please remember, you are not on this autism journey alone. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.